Hello, I'm Chris Jones. Croeso, welcome to today's Supply Chain Summit, tailored towards the construction industry. Now, this summit is part of a pan-Wales campaign to expand the supply chain to ensure that as many SMEs as possible are visible to buyers and are offered the support to find and bid for contracts. Business Wales are creating a data resource to enable Business Wales and Sell to Wales to match SMEs with tender opportunities which will support the foundational economy, i.e. buying goods and services closer to home. During the past couple of years, Business Wales have supported a number of events which have introduced new SME suppliers to organisations like the NHS, local authorities and Tier 1 construction contractors. This has resulted in an expansion of supply chains of more than 62% and a satisfaction level of 99.9% from those SMEs who have attended. Now, buyers are keen to expand their local supply chains even further, and so far SMEs have won millions of pounds of work through this model, using the Business Wales fully funded service to support them. I'm joined first by Ian Rees from Kia Group, and Ian is the area manager for South Wales. So, welcome Ian, diolch yn fawr iawn. To start off, can you provide some insight maybe into your operations within Wales?
So Kia are a national construction and infrastructure company. We operate across the whole of Wales in public and private sectors. In the public sector, we operate across a lot of the Welsh Government frameworks, such as the North Wales Framework, the SUSCAP, South West Wales Regional Contractors Framework, and Building for Wales across health. These are procurement vehicles which the Welsh Government uses to deliver social and cultural and well-being across the Welsh region. As Kia, we comply with and work in accordance with the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act and try and recruit and employ locally where we can. We are one of the leading employers in construction in South Wales. We have 130 staff based across South Wales, including 10 graduates or students, and all are based within 50-mile radius of the Swansea or Cardiff office. And Kia Northern operate the North Wales office from the Wrexham office. We, as a construction company, operate as a main contractor, providing the service for pre-construction, construction and aftercare. The database we hold for supply chain, of local supply chain, we utilise, and 85% of the supply chain on our database are Welsh-based companies.
Are subcontractors of major importance to your business? Do you employ your own staff to carry out works, or maybe is there a mix of both, Ian?
Yes, subcontractors are very important to our business. We directly employ management staff, which covers design, procurement, management and management of the construction itself. We are prioritise the Welsh economy and contributing to the Welsh pound. So one of our priorities and KPIs as a business is to employ locally. And the local supply chain we continuously monitor and monitor performance and help with upskilling, training and any additional supply chain we can, we endeavour to take on board. We have KPIs where our corporate social responsibility team work with the supply chain to help with things such as apprentices, training, and our supply chain manager and project manager work across our projects to ensure that we are upskilling the team and supply any additional training that's needed to enhance the local supply chains and local businesses.
Which projects, therefore, have you delivered or in the process of delivering in Wales, and what sort of trades are involved?
So we work across a number of sectors. So we work across commercial, health, industrial, education, leisure. We've delivered numerous projects across Wales, just a selection being the Trago Mills project we delivered in Merthyr. It was a 40 million retail and warehousing outlet in Merthyr Tydfil and created 400 jobs at the end of the project for the local community. In health, we've delivered the University Hospital of Wales health and neonatal and MRI facility, working in a live hospital in University Hospital Wales Cardiff. And in the leisure and culture sort of sector, we've delivered the St Fagans refurbishment of the National Museum in St Fagans, where we worked on the Grade 2 listed building, again adjacent to live administration areas. There's some of the projects we have delivered. Some of the projects we are currently delivering. So we're currently working on Neath Town Centre redevelopment with the new leisure centre and 7 retail units. It's the heart of the redevelopment of Neath Town Centre. In the education sector, we're working on the large Fitzallen Secondary School, which is a £52 million, 1,500 place secondary school with community facilities and a 25-metre pool for Cardiff Council. And also we're working in the cutting edge sort of technology sector with Swansea University on the CISM project, which is a semiconductor research facility with a large clean room in Swansea University. Regards to the trades that we utilise the majority of trades across our projects, from groundworks to the envelope trades such as roofing, curtain walling, structural steel, internal finishes such as flooring, carpentry, and mechanical and electrical services. So we tend to utilise the majority of the trades on all our projects.
Do you have any particular trades and services which are proving troublesome to recruit? And what do you think the reasons for this are?
We're fortunate in Wales that we have a strong supply chain. However, we are always looking for supplementation to that supply chain with further SMEs of experience and skill that we require to support our projects across Wales and across the sectors we work in. Some of the trades we are looking to connect with currently are the envelope trades such as the curtain walling, roofing, cladding, bricklaying, and some of the internal trades we're finding tiling, decoration are also trades we're looking to connect with.
So looking at supply chain, are the well-documented supply chain issues easing, or is this more of a long-term problem?
So as an industry, we're working proactively with the supply chain issues. We're working collaboratively with organisations such as Celta Wales, Business Wales, to hopefully achieve some longer-term solutions. Clients are embracing social value across the schemes. They are encouraging the training and skills for the construction sector and encouraging employment in professions, the trade and technical professions, and we are supporting this, and we've always been strong advocates and supporters with our targeted recruitment and training. We also provide opportunities, and we have a number of commitments in association with this, with the apprentices we employ across our sites in Wales. And we also provide opportunities for training and employment in connection with certain schemes. So we've got the Kickstart scheme, which runs with the DWP. We've got the CITB schemes, which are the CITB Connect and the CITB Skills Academy. And also as Kia, we've got an early careers programme where we engaging again to get people into the industry. So the supply chain are assisting us with recruitment. We've engaged in Fitzallen School in Cardiff, with Cardiff, on the CITB funded Construction Experience Hub. It's one of 3 hubs in Wales, and we're working with Cardiff Council. There's also Cyfle and the North Wales Hub, and the scheme is endeavouring to get people into the construction industry, providing them with experience and skills to work in the sector, and our supply chain are supporting us with this by providing work experience and also aiding the supply chain with further recruitment. With regards to supply chain visibility and our engagement, there is a dedicated page on Celta Wales where opportunities are published, and you can contact us through that. There's also the dedicated supply chain manager we have in Wales who can be contacted. We have quarterly supply chain meetings where we discuss pipeline, opportunity and any particular issues. We've got the business-to-business route as well, so you can make an appointment to have discussions B2B. The supply chain can also contact us through, which is probably one of the better ways, through the Meet the Buyer events, which are organised by Business Wales and proved very successful. The corporate and social responsibility team can also be engaged to contact us.
How successful has the Business Wales support been for you in organising and delivering Meet the Buyer events?
So the Business Wales Meet the Buyer events are very successful. We've had 4 recently, one of which was at Fitzallen School, where we had 40 SMEs attend. Meet the Buyer events are key to us to open up to the wider supply chain. Business Wales are proven invaluable in the way they advertise, organise, manage the events with their knowledge of the supply chain in Wales. The Tanalan recent event we held was held virtually because of COVID-19, again organised through Business Wales. It was very successful. On the back of the Meet the Buyer event, there were 5 contractors who joined a Kia supply chain out of the event and supported us on the scheme. We had a specialist sports pitch contractor, a landscape contractor, a scaffolder, and also we had a kitchen installer. So the Meet the Buyer events are successful, but we do need to try and capitalise on these in terms of training for the supply chain. So we're looking to broaden our attendance and bring along some specialist advice in terms of net zero carbon, health and safety, or any changes in legislation, just to try and upskill the attendees at those events. We are also looking to try and bring the events to life a little bit more, depending on the stage of the contract, with our BIM team, providing virtual reality technology and fly-throughs of the project.
Of course, Business Wales have seen an increase in Tier 1 supply chains of 64% as a result of these events. Is that the best way for SMEs to engage with you, Ian?
We welcome engagement with the supply chain, and the Meet the Buyer events are one of the best ways to meet with us, meet with our teams and our quantity surveyors and our buyers across the region. But you can contact our regional supply chain manager, Alistair Richards, who manages the supply chain database. The other alternatives are to contact us through live sites. So again, the live sites, or at our offices, or speak to one of our estimators in our estimating department. Again, as Kia, we attend most industry events through CITB, CEW, FBE for the region. And again, please feel free to approach a Kia representative at those events, and we can point you in the right direction to engage with the right people. You can also contact us via our Sell to Wales page, and again, message us through that portal.
So suppliers have the opportunity of face-to-face meetings with your buyers at these events, of course, which must open the door for so many new suppliers. What have they got to do to get on your contractors lists?
So at the Meet the Buyer event, you can get registered with Alistair Richards, who's our supply chain manager for the region. So the process tends to be through a simple pre-qualification form, which addresses things like construction line. We look at the regions you guys work in, because our database is filtered by location. Also, we check things like compliance with the living wage, modern slavery, health and safety records, and we also check the financial status of the company. And again, we operate a preferred and approved list and encourage the use of Tier 1 to Tier 3 supply chain members. We operate, again, procurement procedures are back-to-back with government guidelines, again, being open and transparent. And opportunities we tend to provide the supply chain, we'll always ensure are commensurate with the size and scale of the supply chain.
Yes, social value is becoming more and more important, of course. How does this impact your choice when awarding contracts?
So on contracts we're seeing from clients, more recently, the social value criteria is increasing. We follow the client scoring matrix, which includes the social value elements with our supply chain when we tender and pass that across to supply chain. including support on the social value. We encourage the supply chains, we said before, to enrol into the Supply Chain Sustainability School to get a better understanding of social value and what is required by the relevant frameworks, by Welsh Government and by the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act. We have a number of KPIs across all of our frameworks where we collaborate with our supply chain to achieve these KPIs. To date, we've been very successful on the KPIs. We had recently issued a mini tender for some early supply chain involvement, and within that tender, one of the elements was around social value. So again, it is becoming a lot more prevalent. We are committed to social value as Kia. We've always been committed to social value as Kia for many years, and we are committed to the local communities, the local economy, and we'd expect the supply chain to align with our values in that matter.
Good, thank you. Thanks for that, Ian. Now we turn next to Mark Bodger. Mark is the Engagement Director, Wales, at the CITB. Mark leads on engagement with industry federations and key organisations here in Wales. So, again, thanks for joining us today, Mark. Are you able to provide, first of all, an overview of CITB, if it differs in any way from the rest of the UK, and how many levy payers do you have in Wales?
Yes, certainly. CITB operates throughout England, Scotland and Wales, and we provide a similar service, consistent service across the three nations. In Wales, we have between 5,500 and 6,000 registered levy payers, or companies registered with CITB, and we seek to service their needs in Wales specifically. My role is the Engagement Director for CITB, primarily aiming to engage with a range of stakeholders from the educational sector right the way through skills training into the political arena to make sure that we're influencing on behalf of the construction sector. Also deal with a range of employers and training groups, but the main role for me is to make sure that the team are engaging right the way across the stakeholder network and with a range of employers right the way across Wales.
What do levy payers therefore receive for this levy?
Companies in Wales pay a levy to us. Not all companies have to pay a levy, depends on the pay bill for each of the companies, but that doesn't stop them getting the services that we provide. We provide a range of services ranging from helping them with making sure there's a pipeline of individuals coming into the industry, looking at careers in construction, making sure that they see construction as a rewarding career rather than just a job to do. Companies also can train with us, and we provide grants for companies that train, and that's not a reward for investing in their people, but it's an entitlement for making sure that they get their money's worth and get support for individuals that train within their company.
And what are the supply chain difficulties at present, Mark?
Companies are struggling with the cost of materials, the cost of fuel, and there's a range of pressures coming on companies at this point in time. Another thing that they're really struggling with is getting labour of the right ability to do the right jobs, and that's something that we're keen to help them upskill individuals as they seek to enter the industry, but also take on apprentices and skill them as they work their way through from a baseline of zero right the way through to getting fully competent in their roles. So there's a range of challenges that they face. There's also a workload issue, making sure that they're not too busy, not too quiet, and making sure that they got the right amount of work to deal with at any one particular time. But there are a range of pressures and also changes in regulatory frameworks, things like building regulation changes always come and create a little bit of uncertainty as the focus changes as we move through various things.
How is this looking for the future, therefore, and how can businesses plan ahead?
The industry in Wales is pretty buoyant at the moment. Speaking to companies at this time, there's a lot of work out there. There's a range of, particularly in the domestic area, and a lot of schools being built. Companies can plan ahead through investing in their workforce. If they invest in their workforce, look at things that are coming down the track and are prepared for that for the future, then they can start to develop their workforce in the right way so that they can take on contracts that maybe they haven't taken on previously. But they need the right skills to be able to do that, and that's what CITB seeks to support companies to do.
You've been working with Business Wales to upskill your members in the use of Sell to Wales. How useful has this been for your levy payers?
Working with Business Wales has been really useful. Some companies have engaged with Sell to Wales and seen real benefits of being involved in that process. Other companies, however, have not quite got on board with that journey just yet, and dealing with digital platforms is not everyone's ready for that. What we're keen to do is make sure that we get companies upskilled and able to access all the available tenders and the work that's out there from a variety of platforms, including Sell to Wales, because that'll open up more doors for them as they look to increase their pipelines beyond the short and medium term, but look to the future to make sure that they can engage with other frameworks and other contracts that they might not have engaged with previously.
You're also signposting them to the Business Wales supported Meet the Buyer workshops. But how important is it for your levy payers to register with Business Wales and with Sell to Wales to make themselves visible and to receive these notifications and invites?
It's really important for companies, if they want to expand, if they want to make sure that their pipeline is as far ahead as possible and that they want to get the contracts that are available to them, it's really important to get involved in Business Wales workshops, Meet the Buyer events, those sort of things. It's not something to be feared. It's something to really get involved with and see the benefits for the future. Business Wales are there to help, CITB are there to help, and we're keen to work with any companies that get involved in the Meet the Buyer events and those sort of things. Now, one of the things that's really important to us is that the Meet the Buyer events, it's not everyone that's successful. When they meet the buyers, they don't always get a contract as a result of that Meet the Buyer event. But what they can do is be signposted to assistance for the future, so that if they were to go away and do some upskilling, some retraining, get some accreditations, then maybe next time would be the right time so they can develop themselves ready to take advantage of the contracts that'll be available for them in the future. So even if somebody isn't successful at the first Meet the Buyer event that they attend, they may well get some signposting to things that will help them as a company develop for the future.
Small construction businesses may be very busy right now, of course, especially in the residential market. But how important is it for them to explore the public sector market, especially to become part of, for example, a framework?
As you've mentioned, the residential sector is particularly busy at this point in time. You can't walk down a street without seeing a skip or some scaffolding, and everyone seems to have spent the money that they would have been on holiday during the pandemic on home improvements. So there is a lot of work going on in the residential arena at this point in time, and it's keeping people particularly busy, which is why when we talk about pipelines, they're busy for the short to medium term, but the longer term is something that people need to start thinking about and preparing for. As the cost of living increases that we're seeing at the moment continue and people's purses are tightened, then maybe they won't have that money to spend on their homes, and public sector works may be an area that'll still continue spending through this period. So by being involved in those, in being involved in frameworks, being involved in the various public sector contracts that are out there, it's an area that may well be worth investigating to make sure you've got a pipeline secure, not just for now, but also for the future, work that's secure, money that'll be there in the longer term too.
And why is buying closer to home so important for buyers and for suppliers alike?
Buying nearer home is key. When we look at the challenges that are coming, we've had a climate emergency announced in Wales, and that's one of the things that has driven people to look at green and the whole arena around retrofit and net zero and reducing carbon. Buying closer to home obviously helps with delivering many of those targets, and what we're keen to do is to support clients and contractors and builders to consider making sure that they make the most of what's on their doorstep. We've all had that during the pandemic, and we're keen to explore what's on our doorstep, and maybe even so more now in the construction industry, looking at preparing for what's at hand, using local materials, local skills, local people to do local jobs will help us with that green agenda, reducing our carbon footprint. And that goes from the biggest to the smallest of contractors. Everyone's starting to look at that. And I think that'll become more important as we move forward through various supply chains.
Mark, how excited should SMEs in the construction sector be in relation to the Welsh Government Foundational Economy Initiative and the rewards it should hopefully bring to the industry?
Welsh Government are certainly seeking to do all they can for employers in Wales, and it doesn't always meet everyone's needs and everyone's requirements. But what they're keen to do is to make sure that wherever anything can be done on a local basis, then that is the case. Procurement guidelines are being changed, and the challenge is to make sure that local people get local jobs as far as possible within the frameworks and the guidelines that are currently there. So the opportunities are there. It's up to us to take advantage of them and to utilise the mechanisms that are available, like the Business Wales Sell to Wales site, and utilising local contractors for local jobs as far as possible to demonstrate community benefits and to deliver things on a local basis. And that's why getting skilled up and making sure we've got a pool of talent available in Wales. CITB is keen to make sure that we're assisting companies from the smallest to the biggest make advantage and take the benefit out of the foundational economy focus that Welsh Government have currently got.
So do you expect demand for SMEs to increase in this sector over the coming years? And what support do you think Business Wales can offer these businesses?
There's always a challenge between major contractors winning work and smaller contractors accessing that work. Sometimes it's seen that larger contractors have got bigger pools of people that can fill out tender documents and put in better responses to those tenders. However, depending on the scoring criteria that's used, many people are now looking to make sure that they spread their risk and don't put all their eggs in one basket with major contractors. There are advantages with that, and also supply chains used by main contractors utilise small contractors too. So there's a balance, but sometimes clients are looking for small local contractors to get involved in some of the things like retrofit, and I think that's an area that in Wales we'll be looking to develop over the coming days to make sure we've got those skills that are here in Wales, so the contractors and local individuals can utilise their skills that they've trained and can develop and utilise their competence to deliver retrofit projects to bring down people's energy bills, reduce carbon footprints, and make sure they're ready for work that will come in the coming days.
And finally, what do you think the benefit is of registering with Business Wales and Sell to Wales?
If companies get involved and register with Business Wales, then they've got access to a range of projects that they might not be aware of. People are putting more tenders out through Sell to Wales, and the Welsh Government is certainly encouraging that to come down as far as value is concerned. So even small contractors can look at that. The other thing that Business Wales will do is if contractors are not sure about how to use the system, how to get involved in things, there are workshops, there's support that can be provided to upskill people, and CITB are keen to signpost people to Business Wales to be provided with that advice, often at no cost at all, because they're there to support our Indigenous workforce. And that's what we're keen to do as CITB in Wales, to point people to the support that's available to them now and get them ready for what's coming down the track. And as more opportunities become available on Sell to Wales, then I'm sure they'll be able to benefit from that work that's available there.
Diolch fawr iawn, thank you so much for that. Okay, so our case study today is Jake Burley, and he's from Swansea Professional Painters and Decorators. And the firm is a public sector painting contractor business, and Jake is going to talk about all the support he's received from Business Wales.
My name's Jake and I own Swansea Professional Painters and Decorators. We're a public sector painting contractor business. We complete all aspects of painting and decorating, all through commercial, industrial and the public sector. This could be coatings onto metal exteriors, renders, internal decoration in offices, care homes, hospitals, all aspects of coating interior and exterior surfaces. I found painting and decorating at a young age. When I began working, I had to start working from a young age due to living in a youth hostel. So I started working in lots of different trades, trying to find what I liked. And when I found painting and decorating, I just loved it. I fell in love with the process. I fell in love with the work satisfaction. I knew just then that this is what I want to do. This is where I want to grow and I want to be successful in this area. I started working for myself in England at the age of 18. The company done really well over there and we began to grow. I then moved to Wales, where I then began Swansea Professional Painters and Decorators. I got help with Big Ideas Wales. They helped me develop a business plan for my company, which something we didn't have fully in place. They helped me go through everything in detail, which enabled me to grow the company and really put plans into place and systems. Then I got help from Business Wales with a business advisor. He gave me invaluable advice that helped me grow my company and put the right systems in place moving forward. Having that insight is just something that I would never have been able to get if it wasn't for Business Wales. Not knowing that that was there to start with means I struggled to start with and I learned things the hard way, but once I got that help from Business Wales, I really managed to grow in the right direction and streamline the process. I highly recommend Big Ideas to anyone starting off, or even if they've already got a company, because it really enables you to have more insight into how a business should run. You may have your own systems in place now, but there's so much more to learn and so much more to know. When we first started growing, we were predominantly in the domestic area, just due to the natural growth of the company. That's where we come from. Then, as things got bigger and bigger, I soon realised that to actually want to push forward into the public sector. My business advisor pointed me in the direction of a tendering advisor. The tendering advisor helped me navigate Sell to Wales' website. He helped me go through the different areas and work out all the different terms. He then showed me how to complete the quote itself. He broke it all down for me into different stages, showing me the point scoring system, how it works, and showed me how to set out the actual initial quote. I always thought we weren't big enough for the council contracts in the public sector and was almost intimidated by the process. Having the help with it all broken down enabled me to understand it better, and it wasn't as intimidating anymore. It just seemed like this is just a normal quote, we just need to work through it in a different way. Before getting a lot of help from Business Wales and a business advisor and the tendering advisor and getting into the public sector, before then there was a slow and steady growth, but now I've been able to double the size of my company. We've really expanded. It's given me constant work and reassured payments. I actually found it was a really great way to grow my company and have consistent work coming in. We now just complete painting and decorating contracts for the public sector as well as industrial and commercial. What we're doing now in Gladstone, Barry, this involves working with an artist putting on a stencil onto the bridge influenced by the area around to help people use the public footpath and create a more inviting space. The artist has designed geometrical shapes that slightly overlap that are influenced by the surrounding areas, the landscape, the colours, the buildings, the hills. We then have coloured them in. We've even had the colours mixed to show the overlap. We were really excited about this project. We're really looking forward to it. There was a lot of planning that went into it first, and to now see it all come to fruition is amazing. Seeing the bright colours, seeing the people walk past and compliment it, it's such a great feeling. I think completing this project has really got us noticed and it's really got us out there. It's given other councils the confidence that we can deliver such a technical project on time and with high quality. We've had such great growth for the last 12 months, it's really humbling and I'm really proud of where we've come. Business Wales has really helped us grow in the public sector. They've given us a lot of confidence to take on new and bigger projects. Our future plans are to continue growing at a steady rate so that we can keep quality assurance. We're trying to be the best, not the biggest. My advice to young people starting a new company or even have an existing company, utilise the free advice available and you'll just never look back.
And that brings us to the end of the presentations. Thank you so much to all the speakers and all their input, of course. So to reiterate, how can you get involved? Now, to ensure that you can be matched, Business Wales are encouraging you, of course, to register with Sell to Wales, which is a vital business development tool to find contract opportunities within the public and the private sector. It's free to register and free to use. Approximately £6.5 billion is advertised each year on Sell to Wales, and roughly 80% of the contracts are smaller opportunities, ranging from £1,000 to £50,000. So there are opportunities out there for businesses of all types and all sizes. As they say, you've got to be in it to win it. So the Business Wales regional teams will be contacting you following this event to support you with your registrations and the other initiatives that have been discussed during this summit. So from me, Ulvar.